started here. Should get started here. 1 second. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're holding over here. This is the third class we're going to be giving in Dvar Malchus of Parshas Breishis. And very, very, very simple, but also very powerful and very, in the simplicity lies a very big chiddush and very important. And we're going to finish it Be'ez Hashem today. And I want to excite everyone. Next week, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to start a 3-week class on the famous talk of the Rebbe of Parshas Chayesara, which was the final talk that the Rebbe gave for us, shluchim, shluchis, about exactly what our avodah is now. And that's a must to learn it really well and to internalize it. Be'ez Hashem, we start next week, so please spread the word. Let's get as many people as we can. And when I say final, I mean final instruction until we hear Zeicha to hear our Rebbe speak to us again and give us further instructions. But as we stand, that was the talk by the Knesset Shluchim of Nun Beis. Okay, we are holding now by Perek Dalid, and I'm just going to say the one nekuda so that we can pick up from where we were. In the last 2 classes, we've brought about the idea that when the Eibishter chose Yidden, that Yidden are the Reishis, that Yidden are the first and the most important, or the Tchila, the beginning, the primary purpose of creation, is talking about us as the Jewish people. First of all, we have to realize that we're talking about not as a concept as Jews, but we're talking about me and you and you and me and you and your friend and your friend and you and all of us Jews as we exist over here in the 21st century. We're not talking about some abstract Jew in a white robe in the middle of, way back then in the desert. We're talking about Yidden, actual Jews today alive. But what we also learned is that we're talking about us, not our spiritual souls, but our physical bodies. And that is the primary purpose and the inner core and the inner entire reason for all of creation to exist. And not only that, but the Rebbe added what we learned last week, which was an incredible chiddush, and that is that it's not in the elegance of the Jewish body, it's in the coarseness of the Jewish body. The Eibishter chose the lowest common denominator that we have, and a common denominator that we have with all human beings, and the factual that we're physical, the matter of us, I'm talking about physical matter, the substance of our matter, not the refinement of the matter. That would be called gashmias. Chumrias means the lower side of our matter, just the coarseness, the thickness, the density of the matter of the Jewish body, which is what makes up chumrias. You say the afar. Within our bodies, the Eibishter is not choosing the design, the mayim, the ruach, and everything is made up of water, wind, and air, or water, wind, and fire. Not the water, wind, and fire of it, but the substance, the offer of it, which is not so refined by the kosher food and all the like. Just the and that means even the Jew in the most unrefined state, even when when we think about ourselves, when we're not so refined and elevated, we haven't been practicing Eskafia recently, and we feel ourselves a little bit, drawn into the material and the gashmis and so forth, and we might even say it's pasnish for a chassid to be that way, it's not fitting for me and so forth, but we still have to realize that even in this condition, the Eibishter is choosing us. Because the choice, as the Rebbe we learned last week, is a choice of bechira. And bechira means it's not because of any reason. It's not because of anything appealing. It's not about us that is appealing to him. It's about a choice that he's made. And for that, because he chose our physical, earthy bodies, for that reason, he created all of existence to support that. That's unbelievable. Okay. Based on that, I'm starting on page 6, and Be'ez Hashem, we're going to go quickly today. We're going to finish. So with this, it's understood the chiddush, the tremendous novelty on the pirush explanation of our chachamim and Parshas Breishis, b'shul ha'Torah shenikras Reishis, for the sake of the Torah that's called Reishis, u'b'shul Yisroel shenikras Reishis, and for the sake of the Jewish people that are called Reishis. Ikar ha'chiddush b'zeh, the main chiddush over here, lo yisha Torah v'Yisroel and Reishis be'etzem. We're not saying that the Torah and the Jewish people are Reishis be'etzem, in essence, mitzad atzmon. in their quintessential state, in their spiritual state. Lamayla legamra ma'abriya, as they stand completely above the creation. Ella, but rather, and most important, shegam kafi shem nimtzam b'toich habriya, even as we manifest within the creation. The idea of a Jew is an entity infinitely higher than creation. It's above, it's part of Eibishter. But even when we come down and manifest as a part of the creation, and not only that, ad lagufa chumri shel Yehudi, all the way down to our bodies, and as we mentioned, the Rebbe emphasizes chumri, the body in its coarseness. Mizgala, in that place, it's revealed shehem reishis kol habriya, that they are the beginning, and that means the nucleus shebishvilam nivra olam, that for them the world was created. And even if maybe if we're a little liberal minded in our own minds, and we're thinking, ois pasnisht, how, what, where, and when, this is some kind of a sense of superiority, some kind of supremacy, some kind of racist kind of a type of a feeling, and so on and so forth. It has nothing to do with me or you deciding or wanting or agreeing or not agreeing. This is God's choice that God made when He created the world, and this is what He decided. If anybody not happy with this situation, they can go create themselves in another world. But in this reality that the Eibishter created, this is what He chose, and this is why He created it, and this is what He made important. You can't go into someone else's house and tell them that you don't like the couch that they have and they should get a different couch. It's not your home, it's their home. This is the Eibishter's creation. And over here, this is what God chose. He chose our bodies, ubanu b'charta mikol am b'losh. And it's not a statement we're making. You see it in history, the fact that our physical, earthy Jewish bodies have survived against all odds, against the rule of the survival of the fittest. We were not the fittest. We're the smallest of all people. We're the least of all people. We're the most persecuted of all people. We're the most, and in many ways, the weakest of all people. And we're here. We're here not because of our wisdom. We're here because this is testimony to the Eibishter's choice that He chose us. And not for any reason, just because. That's the idea. And this is the connection between the two Perushim of Breishis. Breishis Abriya. Remember we said Breishis, Rashi says two Perushim. One is that Breishis is the beginning of creation. Breishis Hashemayim, well, what's first in creation? And the first Perush that Rashi says, V'toyri Yisroel, Shenikru Reishis Shalamayla Mahabriya. And that Breishis is also referring to Torah and the Jewish people that are called Reishis, which is higher than creation. Shezeh Toyri Yisroel Ham Lamayla Mahabriya. That the Torah and Yidden are above the creation Reishis. Nase chelek mabriya atzma. That's not this that Yidden are above and higher, and in truth our souls are so high. This actually permeates and becomes part of the creation. Since Torah and Yidden become part of the creation. What's the second Pirush? That Hashem creates the Bria, the creation itself, heaven and earth. And when we say heaven and earth, we have to, sometimes when we speak heaven and earth, it's easier to see. Heaven and earth is created for the sake of the Jewish people, and that means earth, barren earth the way it was the first day. No. We mean Wilshire Boulevard, we mean La Brea Boulevard, we mean Sepulveda, we mean all the streets that you go on, we mean wherever it is that you're shopping, we mean Amazon, we mean Walmart, we mean the Ralphs and Vons and all the people that are working there, and Chase Bank and Bank of America and everything that's going on and everything that exists and all the cars and all the taxis and the Ubers and everything. I'm just saying whatever's just coming into my mind now, but the sum totality of everything, all the economy, all the people, all the animals, everything that you see is created for the sake of the Jewish people. And how much so do we become part of the creation? The point is this: we have a Jew that's above the creation, but Hashem comes and brings us down that we become part of the creation. And when we become part of the creation, we become so much part of the creation that you can't tell the Jew from the non-Jew. In terms of his physical body, it's the same body. And even the going a step lower, like we mentioned last week, to a point in our body that you can't see the refinement that comes from the kashrus and from all the other laws that make our bodies be elegant. No, not that. Just the coarseness of our bodies. And in this very, 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 very much physical world state of creation, Babriya, in the creation, Mizgala, over here it's revealed, V'nikr b'chola oilam, and it's recognized in the whole world. It's not enough that this is the truth. This needs to be recognized and seen and felt, and Shehem Reishis that they, which are the Jewish people, they are the beginning of the world, kepirish hadrash, like the pirish of the drush, the medrash. The medrash says, so that's how the two pshatim come together, the medrash and the pshat. That's why Rashi prefaces the pirish of medrash. Yisroel. The question we had last time is, if Rashi says that the Pashat Pshat of Breishis means the world, how can Rashi tell you in the same breath, and not only in the same breath, but even before that, a Pirush of Medrash, which says it's talking about Jews and the Torah? And the answer is, Jews and the Torah and the world, it's one thing, because the Jews become part of the world and the Torah becomes part of the world. And as the world is a world with all of its details, the whole world was created b'shvil ha-Torah, b'shvil Yisroel. That's the answer. It's not a contradiction to the world, which is the simple Pirush in Bereshis Bara, and the contrary. This itself expresses the shleimus, the ultimate purpose of the world itself. And this reveals the inner intention of the existence of the world. All the creation of heaven and earth. Why did the Eibishter make the heaven and earth? So that he can reveal his choice. And what does he choose? The Bechira that he chooses in the Jewish people, the Torah. To the point that it should be sensed in the world as a very, very simple matter of a fact. It should be so normally accepted. It shouldn't even be a chiddush, that's the point. Now, if you say it, it's a big chiddush. The whole world, no. It should be so, it becomes so normal. And we're going to see the Rebbe says that that's Mashiach, and that's already happening in the world, that it starts becoming normal that the Jewish people are very special, as we're going to see soon. Hamayla, this quality, Shetoyre v'Yisroel, that Torah and Yidden, Hinam Reishis, that they are the first, Be'erech l'shar chelkei abriya, to the rest of the creation. The Yesh Lakashas that we can also connect this Gamim Si in Parshas Bereshis. That this idea can also be connected with the end of Parshas Bereshis. That's a connection actually to this week's Parsha. Not Tchilasan b'Soifan, v'Soifan b'Tchilasan, because based on the rule that the beginning and the end are wedged together. What's the last words of Parshas Bereshis, which interlude into this week's Parsha? V'Noyach matzachein be'enei Hashem. That Noyach found favor in the eyes of Hashem. Now, matzachein be'enei Hashem, favor in the eyes of God, is not talking about some kind of a virtue. It's not that Noach was virtuous and meritorious, and that's why the Eibishter liked him, because of the good deeds. That's next week's parsha. Noach is tzaddik. This week it doesn't say. In Parshas Bereshis it doesn't say that. Parshas Bereshis starts with some kind of a favoritism. Hashem says, no, he finds favor, and I just like him. It's not an Indian of reason. And by the way, but that's Noach. Noach is the father of all of humanity. No, the Rebbe is saying, when Noach is mentioned in the end of Parshas Bereshis, we're talking about Noach as the seed of Israel, the seed of the Jewish people. Al derech inyan ha-bechira. It's similar to the idea of Bechira, which is the beginning of Bereshis, which here it says, in the first words of Bereshis, you have the idea that the Eibishter chose the Jewish people and the Torah as his interest in creation. So in the end is the same thing. Noach matzachein, Noach finds favor. Based on what is known, the Rebbe Rashab asks a question on Rosh Hashanah when we're busy saying Zechronos, the psukim of remembrance, which we're trying to remember the mile of Nishmas Yisroel. That's the whole idea. Because in order, we all know, we learned those Chassidus, this always comes across in Chassidus, we always learn this, that when the reason why we say Malchus Zechronos Shofres in Rosh Hashanah is because on the Eibishter's Malchus expires on Rosh Hashanah. It means God's interest in being a king, and we need to, and therefore he becomes infinitely removed from the creation, and we need to renegotiate our existence. But who are the negotiators? Since the worlds are all meaningless, so no one in the world can negotiate. You need someone who is meaningful in the Eibishter's eyes, even when the worlds don't exist. And that is the Jewish people, because as we were learning about in this Sikha itself, that we exist on two planes. We exist above the creation as part of God, and we also exist within the creation as part of the creation. So when you need someone to negotiate for the creation, it's the Jews who negotiate, because the Jews are part of Hashem above the creation. But then the question that Rebbe Rashab says, how come one of the psukim is V'games Noach ba'av Zachart? That's actually the first pasuk in Zechronos. We mentioned the remembrance this week's parsha. That Hashem remembers Noach as Ita Bateva and Eretz and Teva Yeshayku Amayim, and the waters calm down. So the Rebbe Rashab says the memory of Noach is referring to this that the Eibishter has tainug in the etzem membrance of Nishmas Yisroel, the chavivus atzmis, the essential desire and preciousness that God loves our neshamas with an essential love. That's what stilled the floods of the Mabul. Nothing can still God's rage at the world besides his inexplicable, essential, boundless love that he has to Yidden just because. Now the truth is, in that love, it's more of a love of our neshamas, not the love, Nishmas Yisrael, not the love of the bodies. So it's different than Breishis. In Breishis, B'shul HaTorah, B'shul Yisrael, the Rebbe is emphasizing, it's referring to the body of the Jew. And here the Rebbe Rashab says it's been Noach, is referring to the Etzem Nishmas Yisrael. But still the same idea that the Eibishter has what we might call a super, or I like to use the word irrational, just that we realize how crazy it is. But at the same time, of course, what we mean is super rational. It's beyond all reason and all explanation. So, but the idea is that the Eibishter's love to Yidden transcends all reason. Hinei mitzad etzem, these are the words of the Rebbe Rashab. Hinei mitzad etzem mailas nishmas Yisrael. It's because of the etzem quality of the souls of Yidden. L'mayla matam v'das, beyond all reason. Yesh loymar, but the Rebbe says shezeh kasher l'aschalas aparshat Breishis. It's connected to the beginning of Breishis. B'shvil Yisrael shenikru Reishis. V'kach, that the Eibishter creates the world for the sake of Yidden. V'kach zeh, but by Noach, it's the love the Eibishter has to the neshamas, but over there too it expresses itself in the world. Why? Because the Eibishter loved our neshamas, Hashem saved Noach physically in this world, and not only that, through Noach he reconstructs all of humanity. It reveals itself in the world. Because Noach finds favor in the eyes of Hashem, Hashem saves him from the Mabul. This brought to the double wording of Noach. It brought a pleasantness. It caused a certain satisfaction in the realms above, in the realms of below. It brought satisfaction in all of existence because of what? Because of the Eibishter's essential love to Noach, which is the Eibishter's essential love to Nishmas Yisrael. So the same idea. We, the Jewish people, justify all of existence and all of creation. We are the inner, deepest nerve in all of creation. I mean nerve in a good way. We are the sensitive nerve that touches the Eibishter, that's deeply rooted in God's essence to create the cosmos, the universe, and everything spiritual and physical. It's one nakuda. It's the Jew. That's how deep. Imagine, we hit a nerve, a toothache, and we go to the dentist, and he doesn't numb you well, and he hits the nerve, and you quiver. That's how deeply. And I'm just using that in the negative. From the negative, we can see the positive. Imagine such a touching of a nerve that gives you such an intense shake, but in the positive. So that's how the Eibishter responds to every single thing of a Jew, and a Jew's physical body, because that's where it's all at. And it creates a certain pleasantness in all of creation because of the Jewish people. Now we'll also understand the connection on the first Pirush of Rashi on Breishis. The Torah should have began with a Chodesh Zelachem. Remember, this whole thing that the world was created for Torah and Yisroel is the second Rashi. The first Rashi speaks about why does the Torah start with Breishis? So we should have an answer for the nations. If the nations will say to the Jewish people, you are thieves, that you have conquered the lands of the seven nations, they will say to them, the whole world belongs to the Eibishter. He created in his son, and he gave it to those that find favor in his eyes. With his wish, he gave it to them. So he gave them. First Hashem gave to the Gentiles the land of Eretz Yisrael, and then Hashem, who created the world, who's the boss over the world, took it away from them and gave it to us. Now we'll understand the connection. What's the chiddush over here? The chiddush in this whole idea is like this. Here's an amazing thing. Rashi is saying the Torah should have started with a Chodesh Zelachem. If the Torah would have started with a Chodesh Zelachem, what does it mean, a Chodesh Zelachem? It's mitzvahs that Hashem gives to the Jewish people. In that sense, it wouldn't be involving the world so much. Why? Even though we do the mitzvahs with the physical aspects of the world, but we would be what? we wouldn't be a people within the world, the story of mankind. We would be an individual story. We're a people in a desert, in some Arabian desert, and God gives us a Torah. And with that, we live a higher, godly or spiritual life, like monks in some place in the Himalayas. There is a tribe of nomads within this world that have godly Torah and mitzvahs, and we're living, and we're kind of above the world with the Torah and the mitzvahs. So that's why the first Rashi is saying, no. The Torah dafka is not starting from Achodesh Azalachem. The Torah is starting from the story of Breishis. Breishis bara lekim es hashamayim es haaretz. No, we're talking about physical creation. We're talking about biology. We're talking about science. We're talking about the creation of the material physical world as it includes 8 billion people, with all the nations and all the people and everything. Mamish, the full Gashmiistic world. And in that Gashmiistic world, there is a land that is first belonging to the nations. And then God in that land, in that world says, I'm moving things around, because like a person moving the furniture around in their house. Hashem is saying, I want to move things around. I want to do renovation in my world. And what's the renovation? I'm going to uproot these people, and I'm going to put my favorite ones, those that I've chosen, I'm going to put them in this land. It's a whole different story. The Jewish people are the Eibishter's chosen, as we are part, very much a chelik of the world, in the midst of world politics, in the midst of world of civilization, of the world, whatever, the whole mankind building its foundations is the early history, and where nations are becoming peoples and so on and so forth. In the midst of that all, there is a godly intervention, and the Eibishter cleans up a certain area and says, that's mine. And that's the chiddush and that emphasizes, the Rebbe says over here, the Maila, that demonstrates the Maila of Yidden and Torah, but the Maila of Yidden in the most physical way to the eyes of the whole world. And why is that? That's the reason why this gets the whole world so angry. That's the reason why the kids in Berkeley or whoever in college campuses all over fight dafka against this. And that's really the whole fight coming from the left side today. It's really a fight against the Eibishter, against the Jewish people, this is all at the Nakuda. Okay, of course, it takes on chitzoniistic external things so that it can camouflage itself. We're not realizing that we're living right now in the last and final battle. It's important to realize that. Hachidish bezehu, let's go back inside. Lo isha Torah v'Yisroel l'mayla ma'olam, not that Torah and Yidden are above the world. Kefi shezeh nimtza b'adgasha b'mitzvahs haTorah. If you're talking about mitzvahs haTorah, chodesh elachem shenitna dafka l'Yisroel. These are things. The whole Torah lechatchila, even though Hashem offers it to the nations, but it was never meant for them. It's meant for the Jewish people. Ela afilu kefi sheYisrael nimtzam ba'olam hazeh gashmi. No. We're talking about Jewish people living in the physical world. They are a people like all people, and as a people, they need a land to live in. And the Eibishter created everybody equal, in their chumriyas. All the lands belong to God equally. And there is even room to complain. You're thieves. Nations were living here. Or you want to say the Palestinians were living here. Or they were never living there. But I'm just saying these Arabs were living there. Whoever was living there. This is a nachla of the nations. He initially gave it to them. Sham is gala. No, over there it's revealed that you, God, the master of creation, the creator of the world, you chose us from all the nations. The koyach ma'isov higid li'amoy losses lam nachlas goyim, and the Eibishter let us know a whole story, a whole book of Breishis, a whole book of Genesis, for the purpose that we should know the story of creation. Because just like the Eibishter chose the Jewish people, who gam bachar, he chose a certain geographic location that could be measured. Lossi says Eretz Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael is not somewhere on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's in the midst of the cradle of civilization. It's in the midst of everything, in the heart of the humanity. A land that's chosen from all the nations. And the Eibishter gave that to his chosen people. Ulohisif, and to add, with this that the Eibishter gave it to us, with his Ratzon and his Bechiras, Eretz Yisrael Hagashmis, the physical Eretz Yisrael, Bali de Bitui Begoloi Ba'olam Hazeh Hagashmi V'Achumri. This expresses in a revealed way in this physical world, not just in this physical world, but in the Chumriistic world. Chumriistic world means on CNN, on Fox News, and on all the other stations, and in the New York Times, and in the Wall Street Journal. But Olam Hazeh Chumri, in the Chumriistic Gashmis world, the choice of the Eibishter, Ba'am Yisrael and the Jewish people, Gam Kefi Shehem Nimtzam B'Chumriis Olam, even when they find themselves very much as physical beings in the physical world. And this is so important that we don't see our uniqueness as some kind of a detached Inyan that we speak about when we're huddled together in a sukkah in some quiet place, and that's what we talk about. No, there's a recognition, a proud recognition that Rebbe wanted Jewish pride. We should realize who we are and what we are, and that the nation should realize it. And if we will believe it ourselves, they will realize it. And the truth is, they realize it, and the Rebbe is going to prove it, and we'll see soon how it's plaka being realized in these days. He connects it to Parshas Lech Lecha here. I'm not going to do that now for the sake of continuing. And I'm going to also skip Sivav. I'm just going to say one quick, Sivav, let's learn. On Niskalei. Again, I'm skipping the last paragraph over here. It's also understood the quality and the greatness of Shabbos Breishis. This was last week. Now, even though we're already past Shabbos Breishis, I still think it's very important because the Chiddush over here in Parshas Breishis is Be'ikr Chodesh Cheshvan, and today is Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. So we'll understand the quality of what we have today as still we're going into Chodesh Cheshvan. What is the idea? Yeshloima, we can say, there's these two qualities that we mentioned earlier regarding the Jewish people. What are the two qualities? The way we exist because of our souls. We are to totally transcend the world. And that's number one. And then our Maila, as we are equal physical human beings and physical earthy beings, earthlings, not aliens from a different planet, but earth people as part of the genealogy of the world. And amongst the equality of everybody, the Eibishter chooses us. So these two inyanim is batas beklalos bezmanei hashana, behevdel ben chodesh Tishrei l'shar chodshei hashana. This expresses itself in 2 times in the year, between the month of Tishrei and the rest of the months. Chodesh Tishrei and Chodesh Tishrei hameruba b'mayadis, which is full of yomim tovim. Nimtza begaloi, it is very clearly illustrated beikar eich shebnei Yisroel am lamaylam an hagas ha'olam. How Yidden are miraculous people, we're above the world. B'miyuchad b'shmini atzeres v'simchas Torah. We said earlier, Rosh Hashanah. How do the Jewish people have power to reignite God's kingship? Because suddenly we go out of our bodies, we go out of our limited humanity, and we become negotiators between the Eibishter and the world. Where are these godly beings that are negotiating the contract for creation for another year. So you see, we're set. Yom Kippur, we're clearly malachim. We're not human. We're above. L'mayla ma'avaya. The Esem HaNeshama is revealed. Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah, Kashakayim HaMatzah Shayil Levatcha V'Ein L'Zara Mitcha. We know that everybody's chased away from the party. And the last 2 days, it's only the Jewish people and Hashem. We have a private party. Ano Malchus B'Chadoi. I and the Eibishter are alone. And they see how the Jewish people are rejoicing with the Torah. You're above it all. So that's interesting. I was going to tell you a quick story. Simchas Torah by night, we had our kofis over here, and our kofis were so loud. People were just singing and dancing. Was really something special. And suddenly the police came. I have neighbors in the back. They're not so happy. But they had Simchas Beis Yeshivos. They already were. It was already too much for them. And the police arrived. When was it? It was about 11:30. No, close to 12 o'clock at night. The police arrived, and it was a man and a woman. And they came in and they were like, what's going on over here? We've got to tone down, whatever. So I walked over to them. We're holding, I think it was like the middle of the 6th takafa. And I walked over them. I was holding my anacle, and it was very funny because I didn't have any discussion with them. I was just holding this little 1-year-old baby. They're cool to a ruckus party. They always get these calls. They come to check out. Usually when you got a ruckus party, you have alcohol, you have whatever, all the other chazarai that is going on by a wild Californian party. And here you're walking in, and there were the people holding, and we had the Sefer Torahs out, and we have a very special Baal Shem Tov Sefer Torah, and the crowns, and the whole thing. And everybody was in this very, 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 a little bit of, as the Rebbe explains over here, And I told them, we were dancing with our Taurus over here. This is the holiest night of the year. We're just rejoicing and this and that. It was so amazing because the two police, they didn't say a word. They just turned around and walked right out. And then we didn't hear from them. And there was a certain hergish that I had that they were nizbatel legamri. They became totally batel mavutel. In other words, they saw something that they realized we can't touch this. This is something otherworldly. It's what the Rebbe is saying. Simchas Torah, but that's, Simchas Torah. But the Chiddush is not Simchas Torah. The Chiddush is B'shar Chatzei Hashanah the rest of the year. Ha'avodu be'ikr b'toich ha'olam. Back into the world. U'b'shabes Breishis asiyim shel chodesh Tishrei. V'aschala shel Chatzei Hashanah heichel m'shabes avarchim cheshvan. When Shabbos Breishis, yeshnam shnei inyanim, there are two inyanim. Ha'mayla shel Torah v'Yisroel kafi shehem Breishis be'etzem. Shabbos Breishis, these two inyanim come together. On the one hand, you have the Maila of Yidden as we are totally above the world. And also as we are the beginning of the world. That's why we then receive the power. Before we leave Chodesh Tishrei, before we're going into the world, when every single one of us is going out into our daily lives, we are in this parsha. What are we told? You're going back home. You're going back into the grime of daily living. You're going to be living as a shlucha or as a shliach, who knows where. And over there, you're going to deal, and you're just one person alone. And you have your first small Jewish community, but you have to deal with different aspects, whether it's zoning elements, whether it's this kind of elements and that, and neighbors calling cause of noise, or this is happening or that is happening. And you need to know that what, and an anti-Semite who lives around the corner. And you have to know, shakavana bebereishis, that the kavana in Breishis ubeshvil ha-Torah shenikra Reishis, that the whole world was created for the Torah ubeshvil Yisroel shenikra Reishis, and for the sake of the Jewish people that were called Reishis. Shezen noisen asa koyach. This gives you the strength. Asher anhagad the Shabbos Breishis timoshach b'meshach kol hashana, that you should have that fire in your soul the whole year. Shegam ba'avoda ba'uvdin dechoil, that even when you're doing your daily, weekly things in the middle of the year, but gashmias v'chumris ha'olam, that involve so much gashmias, such physical labors and such physical things. Turgish hamayla shall b'nei Yisroel. It should be sensed the quality of the Jewish people. Ka'ama nifchar ata b'chartonu mikol ha'amim, as the chosen people ata b'chartonu mikol ha'amim. Al pi aniska li'el. Let's wrap it up over here, but this is just unbelievable. The next few sifim. Al pi aniska li'el, based on what we said before, shamaylas b'nei Yisroel ka'ama nifchar bo b'goli, that the mayla, the quality of the Jewish people as a chosen nation, comes in and is revealed. Va'adara b'dafka kifi shehem nimtzam ba'olam hazeh ha'gashmi v'achumri. This, that the quality of the Jewish people also expresses itself. But then the Rebbe adds, no, be'ikr, it expresses itself as we are physical in the physical world. Here's where the Rebbe gives a hayra, bepoil, an actual hayra of how a Yid is supposed to go about his avodah, ubefrat bizman agolos, and particularly in the zman agolos, when Jews feel inferior, persecuted, trampled on for thousands of years, and here the Rebbe is changing he's changing the rules of the game. Mekivan, he's revealing what always was, but I don't think anybody ever said this the way the Rebbe says it here. Mekivan shahakol kol ha'olam nivra b'shvil Yisrael, since everything and the whole world was created for the sake of Yidden, v'zem es gala gam ba'olam hazeh ha'gashmi v'achumri b'zeh shebanu b'charta, and it reveals itself also in the physical world, that after Hashem creates the world with a few billion people, Hashem chooses the Jewish people. B'guf ha'chumri shel Yehudi, in the Yid's body, ha'nidba b'chumri yusad l'gufei olam, that appears to be the same like the Gentiles' body. Ha're'emuv, and it's understood shebechol ma'imud matzav, that in every situation, ubechol zman, and in every time, ubechol makoim, and in every place. It doesn't make a difference where it is, whether we're in Eretz Yisrael, whether we're living in Thailand, whether we're living in Australia, whether we're living here in California. It doesn't make a difference. And even if you're not on your highest, most refined, elevated state, even if you're feeling low and coarse and whatever, dark, because mistakes that you've made, or whatever we all make, and we sometimes feel very ugly and silly and whatever. And even during the time of exile, it doesn't change the fact we're still the Reishis of the world. We're still above everything. For them, everything was created. Because we are the chosen nation that the Eibishter has chosen. And it can never change, because if he chose bent or connected to any reason, you can say that the more, if he loved us because of our attractiveness, we start becoming unattractive, it slowly starts waning or disappearing. But it's not that. The Eibishter chose us for no reason at all. It's his choice. And he doesn't change, so we don't change. If our Maila of Avreishis, of being Reishis, it would only be the quality of our Neshamas, or the Mailas, the quality that Jews have. We're smart, we're compassionate, we're kind, we're nice, we're good. The Mailas that it says. Or even of our body. That we spoke that there's a certain refinement. Then we could have said that this is conditional and to a situation that the neshama is visible. But not in a time when there is a concealment on the revelation of the neshama. Like in the time of Galus. Since the Eibishter has chosen us when in our physical bodies, when we appear to be like the bodies of the nations, that can never change. It's so amazing the Eibishter chose us in our most lowest thing. Therefore, and that doesn't change. That doesn't need anything. It just, that doesn't have any quality, and that's what the Eibishter has chosen. Moving from it is understood. Even when the Jewish people find themselves in exile, beneath under the nations, because of our sins, we've been exiled from our land. Even though we don't see in a revealed way, we don't see the shining, brilliant souls of the Jewish people like it was shining when we lived in Yerushalayim back in the days of the Beis Hamikdash. Our physical bodies are still Reishis because of the Eibishter choosing our bodies. Moving, it's understood. We're not that. Not only is it that we're not under Chas v'Sholem, the Gentile nations don't have any shlita, any dominion over the Jewish people. Not only in our neshamas. Here's the chiddush. The Friediger Rebbe said that the nations in the world, you should know that only our bodies were subjected to Golus, but our neshamas never went to Golus. Comes the Rebbe, and the Rebbe says they have no shlita, even our bodies either. There's absolutely no shlita, because how can they be shoylet? How can they rule over a body that the whole world, that the whole existence is only as a result for the sake of this body? That's why they're here. If this is their whole purpose, they can't rule on it. And the Rebbe then the Rebbe is not arguing on the Friediger Rebbe. The Rebbe is saying this, that the Friediger Rebbe said that our bodies are in Golos, means only benegayet to certain halachis. We have to pay taxes. Fine. And that's not because they have power over us, it's because Torah says that we have to pay taxes. During the time of Golus, Jews have to be we have to follow the laws of the land, and we're required to pay the taxes of the land. But not because there is a true empowerment or rulership over the Jewish bodies. Ela adarab, gam bizman agolus, even the time of Golus, hem reishis kol habriya. They are the reishis of the whole creation. Ubeshvilam nivru kol umay sa'olam. Every single nation, every single person in the world was created for the sake of them. V'shar chelkei ha'olam, and all the other parts of the world. V'ad, and here's even so much, listen to this. Shegadlis umay sa'olam, the greatness of the nations, this that they have power, money, talent, abilities, teluya b'bnei Yisroel. It's dependent on the Jewish people. K'de'isur shebechol doir, like it says, that in every generation, ubechol zman, in all times, Umma she Yisroel tachtam begolus, the nation that has the Yidden under them in exile, misnasis al kol hagoyim, becomes the nation that rules over all the superpower of the world. The afal pisha begolus nimtzam b'nei Yisroel b'shibud malchiyos, and even though we are in a state of shibud malchiyos, v'yesh nai hatzivoy shel dina de malchus dina, and there is a rule of Dina the Malchus, Dina, the law of the land is the land. And we're not allowed to rebel against the nations. The reason is not because a Jew feels subservient. He has fear or dread before the nations. On the contrary, Bnei Yisroel the Jewish people are the Reishis, their entire existence is for the sake of the Jewish people. The reason is, it's when the Yidden, I give an example. He's giving an example when the Yidden were in the most mighty estate, we were marching towards Eretz Yisrael. Hashem told us not to start up with a Maayon and Maayon. It had nothing to do with being afraid of them. Hashem had to restrain us. We were so powerful at that time. Hashem said, the time has not come to take them. So similar to that, the Rebbe is explaining, you can't explain because of any intimidation. Quite on the contrary, the Jews wanted to intimidate Maayon and Maayon. So on one of them, they were given permission to intimidate, and the other one, they were told they're not allowed to even intimidate them. Maayon, they weren't even allowed to intimidate. For whatever reason, because Rus, also because of the Jewish people, because Rus was there, and later that stuff in the mouth. I'm skipping the rest of it. I'm just going to skipping the parentheses. The same is also regarding to the sin. It's not because we're afraid. The Eibishter instituted and commanded. This is the way it needs to be. It has nothing to do. We're not in any way less a chosen people. The first of the whole world. What does that mean? The Rebbe explains it. This the Dina the Malchus Dina First of all, it's only regarding to certain limited physical things. Dine Mamanis regarding money issues, masim, taxes, varnoinis, different types of taxes. Not regards Torah mitzvahs shaleim yeshayro beruda b'Torah. And that, when it comes to Torah mitzvahs, for sure they have no rule over us, but even in the physical aspect of it. Our neshamas were never, and to l'shibud malchus, our neshamas were not given over. Also our physical bodies and our chumrius of the Yid, nisharuhu tamid reishis. The Yid remains always Reishis, and above the nations. It's not because he's under their power. The Eibishter set that limitation that we have to pay whatever it is when we're amongst the nations. And from here it's understood. Listen to this Gewalt. When Yidden receive favors from the nations. Bisman HaGolus during the time of Golus. When the United States of America is pumping billions of dollars into Israel. And we have to thank them. The Navi told the Jewish people that when you're going to Golus, you should pray for the peace of the city. Because when they're going to have peace, you're also going to have peace. But he says, we should never get an inferiority complex that we owe it to the nations, and that because of that chas v'sholem, our survival is dependent on them and to their kindness. The kindness of the nations that are instigated by the nations themselves, there's a pasuk that says, is lacking. I'm going to use the term lacking over here. It's chatos. Whatever that is. Hear these words. When they are giving, when they're being kind, and they're helping the Jewish people in Yonah Torah mitzvahs, it's not the chesed of the nations, we have to know that it's coming from the Eibishter. Because the Eibishter is in charge of our survival. The Eibishter gave them billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, so they can give billions to the Eretz Yisrael. The Eibishter wants to funnel the cash to the Jewish people through America or through the various different nations. It's not a chatas, or else it would be a chatas. We're receiving some kind of a sinful money. But we're not getting that kind of a thing. Why? Because it's not from them. them. It's because God, or else it doesn't make any sense even. Why in the world would Washington give billions so much to Israel more than anybody else? Because that's what the Eibishter is doing. Ula Haisif. Okay, I'm going to skip. The Rebbe says that this is Be'ikr, She'inyan Aniska El, in Ches. Is Badgasha Begili. I have a few more minutes. I know I'm going a little over time because I want to finish this. Always the last week we're going to do a series, and when we get a little too little to end, and that's where the juicy part is. But to make it its own class, I'm going to go a little over time. So give me another couple of minutes. I hope I don't mind. And if you have to get off the phone now, you can tune into the YouTube later, or whatever it is, and watch it and finish it. But I just want to finish it. And we have to add on. That this, first of all, like this. Someone who's not a king can't speak like this. This you're talking about a melech speaking. The melech of the Jewish people can speak with such tkifus. This reminds us of the story when the Rebbe was walking down in Crown Heights, that he said good afternoon, whatever, or good morning, he would say to the Jewish, to the non-Jewish, whatever, person that I think was an insurance guy would stand outside, and the Jewish fellow, the Rebbe would bend his head. And the Rebbe said, and he asked the Rebbe, how come that he gets a good morning? And I know the Rebbe says, for a goy, in the cup. So that's in no other, you don't see that anywhere else. This idea that I don't bend for a Gentile. A Yid needs to know who he is. But hear this amazing thing. All of this is nice. This is the way it is in Torah. This is the way it is in our Jewish minds. But the question is, how is the world receiving this? Does the world accept this and see this? For all generations, no. It's the truth always, but the world's not. But when you come already to Mashiach's, his galos in the world, and the yonim of Mashiach are happening in the world, you start seeing the changes, global changes regarding to this. So, and let's see, and we're going to see it. And here's what I want to connect it. The Rebbe spoke in Nun Aleph. This is Nun Beis. What happened that year? And we're going to see what's happening now in the last 2 years. Unbelievable. If you mamish seeing the continuation of this. The Jewish people have called it Kedusha Tevis. That we named it, let it be a year of wonders. Neflois bakoil, and wonders in everything. Bakoil mikrokoil. So number one, neflois means, the Rebbe says the word neflois can be broken into two. Nun plois, 50 wonders. Moira al shleimus begilui b'chinas pella. Pella is a level of keser, or wonder, something that's completely mind-boggling. Okay? But that's when you have any pella. Nun pella means 50 times pella. So we're talking about shafilu pam achas pella harei umuvdol mufresh minyan machem. Even if you have a one-time pella, it's crazy. Al achas kama v'kama nun plois, 50 pellas. That means that we have to expect in Tavshin Nun Beis crazy things to happen. Shenun kasher gamim yovel shanam anikra oilam. Now, that's 50 doesn't only mean 50, because 50 is oilam, yovel. Yovel means eternal. So we're talking about a pella that goes on and on and on. It's unbelievable. And then another name for the year is Shnas Tia Shna. I'm sorry. So we have neflois. Then you have, where are those neflois? Ba, in her. Merames, what does that mean? In addition to last year, the year before, in Tavshin Nun Aleph 5751, that we saw miracles. So this year is Maayon B'Kodesh. We're going to have something greater. Noisef b'shana zu. What's being added? Sheshana zu tia b'oifen neflois ba haneflois tia loirak prat b'shana. The wonders will not only be a detail in the year, ele inyan hashana. Ba, the whole content. What's the content of the year? Mind-blowing miracles. V'neflois bakoil, and also bakoil means b'chol inyanim. It will translate into everything. V'yesh loimar, it's a little paragraph, but it's saying so much. Shahagilui shal neflois ba. What's the great miracles? What happened in Tavshin Nun Beis? What's the neflois ba? What's that the whole thing is just extraordinary. Neflois, some of the mizbata gam begilui shal bechiras hakadosh baruch hu b'Yisroel. That this bechira that the Eibishter is boicher in Yidden becomes apparent. That's a pella. That's a pella. You have a world, such a big world, and God chose our physical bodies, physical Jews in this world. It's the greatest pella that this happened, and that should be revealed in the world. Asher bechiru hu b'chinas pella. Bechira in general is a bechira. Lamayla makol inyan, as we said earlier. Now, where do you see this bechira? In the beginning of this year, behemshech menuflas b'shana she'avra. Continuation to the previous year, specifically in this. Medina hi Russia, Matira allows alfei Yehudim, to thousands and thousands of Jews. Lalos Eretz Yisrael. The biggest change, the Soviet Union. These were people that the Jews were so oppressed, and suddenly in Nun Aleph and Nun Beis, boom, everything changed. Ashasham Yecholim Amlichyois, they let them go to Eretz Yisrael, which we said before, that Yidden are permitted to go to Eretz Yisrael, which, until then, the Russians themselves sided with the Arabs very much and saying it's stolen land. Now they're letting the Jews go up, with full freedom, where they can live complete lives. This is a giloy in the world of the quality of the Jewish people. They're actually helping out. The Rebbe says, well, let's make first an introduction. We need to know that the recognition of nations, just like the recognition of the nations in the Eibishter has to become stronger and stronger for Mashiach to come, so too the recognition of the world and the quality of the Jewish people also has to intensify continuously from generation to generation. As we're getting closer to the true Geula, the Goyim have to go to our light. We have to bring them the light, so they have to recognize who we are. The nations will watch your children. They will take care of your babies. They'll babysit for you. Why? Because they recognize, wow. And as a preparation for that, so also in the time, in the days of Golos, we find we find that the nations all recognize that the Jewish people are a chosen people. We find them in many midrashim. It's a Gemara Masechtas Zvachim. It says that a king of the nations helped the Jew dress nicely because he says, I'm going to fulfill in you what it says, the guy said that, the Gentile king. And this is so beautiful that Rebbe says, and when you see it in Yiddish, and the way that Rebbe said it, the nations refer to the Jewish people, Bilshainam in English, even when they speak amongst themselves, not to Jews, not when they're speaking at when the president is addressing the Hanukkah celebration, but even when they talk amongst themselves, they refer to the Jewish people as the chosen people. In the later generations, take a look at a country like the United States of America. It's a Medina of kindness. They allow the Jewish people to live their lives in tranquility. They help us. And they help the Jewish people in Eretz Yisrael. And in this itself, this has been added on even more in the last years. That this has spread even to Russia, right? That they allow. And the Rebbe says an amazing thing. The Rebbe brings it always back to the tzaddikim and to our rabbeim. This was affected through the peulis of Gedolei Yisrael b'meshach hadoros in all generations, im umay sa'olam, with the nations, ub'meyuchet shel rabbeinu nesienu, of our rabbeim. Maschol ma'adman azakin shehisarev binyanei olam. The Alter Rebbe wasn't just a Rebbe that said Chassidus. He got involved in matters of the world. Ki yiduah shtadlusa ben Etzchainish Alexander on Napoleon, where he wanted Alexander to beat Napoleon, l'toivas b'nei Yisrael, for the sake of the Jewish people. Beruchnius. Then it was going to be hard for the Jewish people, begashmias, but the Alter Rebbe preferred that it should be easier for us, beruchnias, over our gashmias to state at during that time. But here the Rebbe says, ultimately in the end, Russia will be good to the Jewish people also begashmias. That even physically they also end up doing are good to the Jewish people. They help the Jewish people go out of there. Let it be the will. This should continue getting more. And we see it. You see it in America, the entire religious American Here in California, we're living in a very liberal part of the United States, which is actually at war with this. It's amazing when you realize there's two schools of now it's basically coming down almost to a war. It's frightening what's going on. But anybody that has a little bit of a sense, I think it's very clear. There are those that have a morality that's a God-based morality, and those people are tremendously supporting the Jewish people, the evangelicals. It's like unbelievable. They support Israel, sadly, much more than our own brothers and sisters from the other camp are supporting. It's frightening that in that sense. But the tremendous supporters of the Jewish people, and then on the other hand, you have a humanistic approach that ignores anything related to the Eibishter, to morals coming from God, and they're all human fabricated morals, and that's what they're fighting for, and that's what the war in the country is now all about. And at the core of it, you should, whether we want to admit it or not, is the Jewish people. And everything that the current president and the current administration has done, this is the biggest miracles, because we've never seen a president so supportive of Israel. The problem is that the Netanyahu and his government is not reading this sikha. Because they're still afraid if Chas v'Shalom he lose power and the other side gains power again, then they need to still be. Now is the time to build up the entire Yehuda and Shomron. Now is the time to do incredible things. You have such support from Washington, especially contrasting this to what was going on 3 years ago. They said that we have no historical connection to Yerushalayim. Take a look at the miracles that happened. Came the Eibishter and turned over Ma'aseh Breishis in the 2016 election. Everything was turned over. It's the biggest miracle. That's the miracles that the Rebbe is talking about right over here in the Sikha. I don't know why we as Lubavitchers are running around screaming, open your eyes, see these miracles, what the Eibishter has done. We need to realize it. Now, I understand that our communities, we have to be very sensitive, because sadly people are so brainwashed in the other way that it's frightening. But in any case, let's see what the Rebbe is saying. Ache yizbatlu kol ha'agbalos, till all limitations b'hashpa'as ha'chesed l'bnei Yisroel, in the kindness that is done for the Jewish people, u'ba'akaras malasim shel Yisroel, ba'balusim shel Eretz Yisroel, that everybody recognizes the quality of the Jewish people and our ownership over Eretz Yisroel. That every Jew has a chelik in Eretz Yisroel. Okay, I'm going to skip a little bit. Now, I want to just say Sif Tes, and then I'll let you learn Sif the rest yourself. This is just mamish 2 minutes. Some rabbi in Eretz Yisrael made an announcement, and he said as follows: a horrible thing. That Yidden in Eretz Yisrael need to bend lalachat to the pressures shel umay sa'olam of the nations of the world bekesher le'eretz Yisrael, regarding Eretz Yisrael begal, because of the reason al tizgara b'umays you can't start up with the nations. Heyois vehem b'nei Yisrael nimtzaim, since the Jewish people are under tachas hashlita shel umay sa'olam, since we are under the shlita of the nations, etluyim b'chasdeim, and we're dependent on their kindness. And therefore, that Pashat, our safety and our existence in Eretz Yisrael is dependent on the nations. Rachmana litzlan hoya loitia, let this never be. L'chol harosh, the Rebbe says, 2 things. Rachmana litzlan loymar shakim de bnei Yisrael ubesafik rachmana litzlan hoya loitia. First of all, the very notion to say that the Jewish people are shaky, the existence of the Jewish people and the nations of the world are protecting us. America is protecting us. Am Yisrael nitzchi ayois v'hem am Hashem. Our nitzchias, our eternity, is because we are the people of God. V'akadosh baruch hu hinei nitzchi, and the Eibishter is nitzchi. K'mo shekasav ani Hashem lo yishani. Hashem is eternal, so we are eternal. So we're not dependent on anybody. Shein is the second thing. Kol echad ve'echad mi Yisrael yoidea bepashtis. Every Yid knows shaschalos upsichas kol ha'Torah kula. What's the way the Torah opens? Breishis. V'Rashi mefarish al zeh. And how does the Torah? Rashi says b'shvil ha'Torah shenikras reishis u'b'shvil Yisrael shenikra reishis. That the Eibishter created the whole world for Yidden and for Torah. Moving eifai bepashtis mamish. It's understood literally. Shaloi umay sa'olam and balabayis al b'nei Yisrael. Nations are not a balabayis on Yidden rachman al etzlan. The Rebbe says this is the opening pasuk of the entire Torah. And Torah Shabbat and Torah Shabbat. If this is the first lesson, it's a similar. This is the most important thing. Shazak koil everything. Are a moving. Shabereishis b'shul Torah shenikras Yisrael Zeu Yisoid b'chol Torah kol is the foundation. And he brings over here in the parentheses, because you always see the Seder of Torah is very important in everything. Especially it's the first, when the Torah is opening up, this is like, we see even in B'derech HaOlam that the first lines of everything, the first lines of someone's speech, the first line of a letter is very, very important. So over there, the Eibishter gives it V'lim Roizeh. And notwithstanding all of this, Namod Yehudi Lahachris Bepumpi Lifnei Kama V'Kama Asiris Yisroel, a Jew stood up, speaking about in front of tens and hundreds of Jews, Ashabol L'Shmoyu Torah, they came to hear Torah from him, and he announced, Shekiyumam Shal Yisroel Talu B'Umay Sa'olam, that Yidden are dependent on the nations. We're just coming, the Rebbe says, from the Yomim Tovim of Chodesh Tishrei, when we said so many times, and it's so simple, no one ever thought about this. Even the nations know we're a chosen people. This was a davar pashut. And even in the worst times, there was never a rabbi to get up, that has smicha, and he says something like this. And the Rebbe says nothing to do with al tazgara b'umais and so on and so forth, especially when it comes to a halach and shulchan aruch that you're not allowed to give back land. Not give back land. When Gentiles are coming to take land from the Jewish people, even we're not living in Israel, even if it's in Poland, if we have a certain village that belongs to the Jewish people, and nations are coming, that people are coming to steal from them something, we have to go out and wage war. So you don't give. The Yeratzin, the Rebbe says that he should do tshuva, and the main thing, we shouldn't have to talk about this, but the main thing is v'ikr sheyetoisef ba'kares kol ha'olam kol u'mais ha'olam b'malasam ha'shifchum shel Yisroel b'reishis shel Yisroel. And here's the amazing thing, that this Yeratzin it became stronger and stronger, and again, you're seeing tremendous support from the most powerful government in the world for Eretz Yisrael, with the opening of your embassy in Jerusalem and the getting rid of the Iran deal, and the support for Israel is the first top thing in Congress. Again, on one side of the aisle in Congress, and sadly not on the other side. And you see clearly that this is the last battle before Mashiach comes, and the Eibishter should help. It should all translate and go down b'chesed u'berachmim, and we should see already, should avoid the whole confrontation, even before the upcoming midterms elections. And we should see already the ultimate reward of Melech B'Yafyeh Techzena Einenu, the coming of Mashiach, and the Mile of Yidden fully announced and pronounced for the whole world to see. Again, I'm Chuldik for taking a few extra minutes, but again, we wanted to finish. And Be'ez Hashem, next week, Wednesday night, join in. We're going to start learning Parshas Chayesara. Everyone should have a really, really good Mazel Diga, Tzlacha Diga, and only miracles and wonderful things.